Okay, I'm going to walk through some quick initial impressions. Hopefully, they're going to be valuable for this draft of the website. I appreciate it's on staging, and so staging behavior may be different than the target state in production. So first observation, menu bar is not sticky. It should stay at the top as we scroll, I assume. And so I don't know if that's just a staging issue or what. Um, it's odd to me that this does not go from gray to fully black on the Wolf Labs part. It does for colleges, but not for Wolf Labs. Whereas like the exit button goes black, this goes black, and that one stays kind of grayed out. Whereas that one's fully black. Sign in's great. It is odd to me the color scheme here. So we've got a few different kinds of CTAs. You know, you always want the contrast ratio between the call to action button and the background to be clear in a high contrast ratio. So bright, juicy, clear CTAs. Apply now. It's clear, but the apply now wording is in blue rather than white, which would be higher contrast value. It's okay-ish. And anyway, it just doesn't look like a CTA. It's not horrible. It's just an observation. Also, I'm not sure if it's intended. We have this like little like 5 pixel or 2 pixel gray bar here, and when you hover over, or maybe it's just like an effect of the staging, sometimes that pixel bar shows across the bottom there as well. So there's like a white bar there. You know, really pushing in on it. The slash next to apply now is at a spacing of a capital A letter, and that is non-standard. So sometimes we've got the slash that's touching here, although those are 1 pixel off, and sometimes we've got the slash where it is not touching. So there's just like a bit of variation on that. The slash is going the wrong direction on these ones, and it seems to be set out. So I don't know if those are errors or what's going on, but it does not look right to be that inconsistent. Obviously, those slashes should also be a different height. We've got a style guide for how to do slashes next to things, and so we have not followed that style guide. Okay, now onto the landing piece on the hero image. I love it. So I think it's super cool. I think it's a big win. First thing I'll notice is this looks low resolution, and I know there's a trade-off between resolution and page load speed, and page load speed is super valuable, but it definitely looks low res. Next observation is that the underline technique, I don't know if that's just a staging issue, I think it doesn't quite work. Like it's already animated, it's already the blinking line and typed in, and so for whatever reason, I think it doesn't quite work to have it underlined. Also, just as a random thought, the blinking cursor line could be a slash, which could be kind of interesting. But anyway, otherwise, I think it all looks strong. I love the hero image and how it all came out. The highlights are kind of cool. The way they cycle through, I guess some thought went into that, and it seems to work pretty well. The page is pretty laggy when you scroll compared to most websites. Like the page scroll speed has been set, so I don't know if that is from the staging, but that's a quick observation. Same with the highlights. The animation is fairly slow, so it doesn't feel snappy. The whole thing feels laggy, and so having a higher page scroll speed, having higher animation frame rates or speed on these makes things feel snappy. This image seems to move inside of the box when we scroll. Again, I don't know if that is a staging issue or what, but we've got some like alignment issues there. I assume this ball is going to be animated, which is exciting. Just noting we've got the slash and space there in the slash. It doesn't look bad. I just think we got to be consistent. In terms of this, scrolling marquee of PG dips, PG dips are A, now popular degrees with us, and B, I don't know which college is offering these. So um, I don't know how we are selecting the courses here and how we are coming up with the images of those. We have kind of two pathways at Wolf. We have to have a catalog of all of the degrees. That is a regulatory requirement and a whole bunch of stuff there. And then there are some degrees where we earn a kickback if we sell them, and those are the ones that we want to funnel our students to. So candidly, I don't love having to maintain a kind of scrolling marquee of all the programs at Wolf with all their images because then we've got a big job to maintain it, but it's not that big and we can do it. But that's just my observation. How are we going to pick these and are we going to go source the photos and so on? Start online, finish on campus. I think this is really exciting. Makes sense. I think the layouts here make sense. I don't know what it says. Too much text. This looks good. I mean, love it. These are not flags of countries that we're particularly close with, but in any case, love it. Just as a quick thought, like this looks good, and I like it. We've got better content for these now, right? And so we have this student success and outcomes. And so this is very like V1 content that we used to have. And I'm very curious what happens if I click this. But it would be cool, of course, if I got a modal that showed me the student success stories, of which we've got all these new ones. Having the RadCam, the Radcliffe camera rocket ship here moving at a different speed than the certificates on top when you scroll. It's a little bit too rocket shippy taking off for me for what it's worth. It had sort of similar vibes when this one moves as you scroll. Very cool. Love it. We got a lot of space in the footer, so it's not a compact footer, that's for sure. There's probably more things that we're going to end up adding to the footer over time, and so my only observation on the current spacing of the footer would be, as we add those items, we may want to consider making it more compact. Beyond that, of course, we got the slashes are backwards, I think. Awesome. One other quick note. I don't know how doable it is, but the bubble, when it pops up, has got colors that are different than the other colors on the website, for what it's worth. I assume all these slashes are backwards compared to everything else. I understand we have this phone number. We barely monitor that inbox for what it's worth. I think it's great when people send us a support email, but maybe it's worth pulling the phone number from that unless like we're really getting calls that we want. But particularly as we move towards Udacity students checking our webpage, calls are not probably our strong point for managing as an organization. Okay, just other small stuff. I don't know if we want to make the icons go black on hover. I guess the current method is no, but I thought I saw some other places where it is yes. So over here on Wolf Labs, when you hover, the icon part goes black and animates, and here it stays gray. All makes sense. Okay, we've got a apply now, begin your journey at Wolf. So for what it's worth, drop off tends to be very rapid. The more form fields you have, you can assume something like 5 or 10% drop off for every form field that you add. So I don't think this is conversion optimized for a couple of reasons. The page is too big before you see the CTA. There's actually only one thing we care about, which is their email address. We don't need their full name. It's just not really useful. It's optional from our perspective to provide a telephone number, so making that mandatory, I think, is going to cause a 15% drop-off rate. Country of residence, also optional. Interesting. We should already know it from the IP address. We can use either HubSpot or the form shortener from Clearbit to just pull the IP address when the user gives us their email address, and we can auto-enrich the other fields. Previous education is interesting, but not very interesting, so that mattered to us when we used to not have our entrance pathways that we have. But now we have those entrance pathways, and so performance-based admission is fine. Recognition of prior learning is fine, or direct admission. So we don't actually need to care about the previous education. Selecting the degree program is a really interesting problem, but in general, like, we've got too many degrees listed here, I think, and nobody knows what an award in working with others is. And unless I am arriving on this page having clicked the CTA on the award in working with others, I don't think anybody is ever going to scroll down and select that. And so you know, what I'm not able to do is like type in MBA, right? And so I guess the type to search functionality might not be here on the online version. But if we think about the MBA as an option, for example, it's like we have MBA occupation, you know, in this and this and this and this and this. You know, these are all from like one college. This is from 3 different colleges. So, you know, I think that's challenging. There are many possible solutions to this problem. I don't think this is one of those solutions. But, you know, like maybe you could limit it to undergraduate versus postgraduate, and then field of study being like humanities, sciences, etc. So anyway, there might be other solutions there, but I think that one's pretty tough. We're missing all the content for these, so I don't know if the plan is to hide all of this prior to launch. I mean, we're coming out just a few days out from launch. And usually I'd expect the behavior on these is that if I open one, it will drop down from current scroll and priors will close. That can create some challenges in odd behavior. Behavior here makes sense. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Okay, I'm on the catalog page, and we have this solution which is basically organize the degrees by level, and it's a reasonable solution, except we also have awards which are here, and those come in at both the undergraduate level and the postgraduate level. I also don't think anybody is going to seek an award as like a freestanding thing. It's considered an exit award. 95% of people coming to Wolf are looking for master's degrees. So, you know, this is maybe a degree catalog, course in the British sense. Where we start to run into trouble is where we have multiple colleges offering a degree. So here we've got Master of Science in Data Science and then Master in Science Data Science listed again, both at the exact same length, both in the same area, both with their own views. And so, you know, that is an odd user experience for sure. I don't know if that is because we pushed in the info, but I assume it is because we pushed in the info and we have 2 separate colleges that are offering that program. So we may need a column here for college, or we may need just a listing of one, and it turns out that there are 2 different colleges offering it. But we definitely, you know, can see the challenge where we've got MBA listed, it looks like 10 times here. in a row. And so I don't know if it's dummy data that we're working with at the moment, or if that's just going to be the challenge that we face when we have 10 colleges offering a degree. Um, Okay, the student mobility page is one of the most popular pages at Wolf, and gets a lot of traffic and gets a lot of independent links, and gets talked about a lot during the student sales. So as a student, buys from our college and refers to this. So quick observation: one, the colors over here do not match the colors on the page, so we got to get those harmonized. But I think observation two is it creates some confusion. So you could take a more radical approach and just say something like, make them all blue, put blue here, and say either Education Crestman or Lisbon Convention or by an academic body or government agency. And then have another one that says, if it's grayed out, it probably means like we haven't had a student there yet or something. Missing spacing over here. I don't know what this is supposed to mean, and I know most about our degrees, but our degrees are not structured to be in a UK framework for higher education qualifications. So maybe that came from our academic team and they said that, but we are definitely EQF rated European qualifications framework. We don't have to say these things unless I guess we really want to, but it's not said on any of these others. We also don't have qualification recognition across Commonwealth nations. We should, but I would get academic team sign off on that. We are negotiating our membership with the Association of Commonwealth Universities. Yep, that's super interesting. This is what is often called an orientalizing or racist painting. Take some flack from the academics on that one, I guess. It looks cool though. Like it. Like the theme too. Why employers worldwide love. Yep. Very cool page. Great to see all this stuff. I mean, is One Day an employer? I don't know if we should mix college logos in here with these, but if we've got employees at Meta, KPMG, etc., which has gone on to be the case, but I don't know that we should list our colleges and the employers here. It feels a bit silly. This is cool. Also, nice little touch here, putting the slash into the search. Like if we're going to do that as a method, then let's be consistent and put it into some of the other places. Not sure I saw that in all the other search bars, but very cool. It looks like all the flags are broken here. Might be a Webflow staging issue. I think this is like a rinse and repeat FAQ section. Maybe we just need like a minor CTA to an FAQs page and then a dedicated FAQs page. The only reason I'd say that is, on the one hand, scrolling is cheap and so people can scroll in. But on the other hand, if we have a definite CTA, I don't know that we want FAQs there or not, but could be wrong. I guess there isn't a CTA on this page. Okay, we got this SOFO thing, which is pretty cool. I guess the big question here is, by the way, I think the slashes on here are pretty cool. Love the look and feel of all this. One big question is like, are the photos authentic? And that is a very directed question from students when it comes to this. We need real photos. That's definitely not Lewis University there. So we probably want to sort out some of those. That looks like other universities. Okay, very cool. We got FAQs repeated. They're repeated quite a lot, to be candid. So maybe these are FAQs that are going to be dedicated to the different topics on the page, but otherwise we got all the same stuff, and that feels like too much. Okay, we're on the About Wolf page. I think the slash is reversed there. I don't know if that's intentional. It looks fine. A little weird to see a newspaper version of this painting from the Vatican, but okay. Great, like the in frame motion of photos is a little intense. Trusted governance recognized worldwide. Then it links out, I suppose, to a governance structure page, but I'm not really sure. We definitely don't want a photo of Bacchanalian feast, Dionysian feast, and debauchery as like our trusted governance thing. But I guess this needs to flip out to some page that's on governance. This seems to talk about like answer the question of credibility. We got 800 faculty members. I don't know if that's a spot where we also want to talk about stats for like degrees and student success and so on. Impact in 5 continents. Notably, we didn't show recognition in 5 continents. But anyway, that's pretty cool. This doesn't work, so I don't know what it is. This is presumably going to be members of the executive leadership team at Wolf. I'm not totally sure. These folks are not in leadership at Wolf today, and so I think the question is, do we have a Wolf Academic Advisory Committee WAC page which does display them, and that is like a separate governance message that we have an academic advisory committee, and that is an important thing and not one to claim is our leadership. So we've got to fix that one for sure. This is not a grammatical quote. We can make it grammatical if we move both to in both the near term and long term. This is pretty cool. We got pictures of these Wolf centers. Again, the motion in the background's a little too intense, I think. But I would say, why aren't these on the Start Online, Finish on Campus page? I think this would be a great place to put them. And then Wolf Labs. Okay, hopping into the regulatory section, we've got one called Directory. Usually a university directory is basically like a lookup for faculty addresses. And so this is like maybe a page that could be called resources or like regulatory resources. We need to have a catalog here, and I guess that is getting handled by the all degrees. If we pick on one of these degrees, we've got what you'll learn, the overview, we seem to be missing the faculty. By the way, I've seen this a few different places. I don't know what this is, but it looks very weird. I guess it's like a big A, but I think it's not an A. I think it's like maybe it's flipped. It's supposed to be backwards, like the slashes go in the other direction. But yeah, that looks a little odd. And the behavior on mobile of those then changes next and previous with like colors, and I don't know why we have that like partial cutout, but the cutout doesn't include the border, which I think we don't need a border on that. Just a quick observation. So when I look at this, what college is this? So this one's 48,000 USD, but then it says here that the tuition cost is in INR, so it's got an INR symbol. It's pretty confusing. Download student agreement, certificate, etc. And then this should pre-fill in whatever the degree program of interest is, I guess. And to me, that's the only time we should use that. But really, I need to know what college this is. Also, just say in other cases, this bar here is sticky when we scroll past it, but in this case it seems not to be sticky. I guess it would make sense to be sticky. Oh, this is great that we've got these student things. They should all be aligned to their faces. Like that's awesome, awesome, and so on. So we should QA that. But these seem like the ones that should be on our landing page rather than the ones that we've got, which are those like little quote boxes. Or when I click on the quote boxes, I should get, Bhavya here talking about his program. Yeah, really nice. Yeah, I don't know what college this is. Also, it's a regulatory requirement that we show the intended learning outcomes, and those are a subset of the intended learning outcomes, but not all of those. The course structure, obviously that's some kind of problem. These learning outcomes, it's a regulatory requirement that we include these learning outcomes. We do not care about these learning outcomes. Like nobody wants to see these, and so we need a better solution for nesting the information so that people don't have to scroll past them. Like maybe there's just like a little button that says, intended learning outcomes, and you open it and you get this long but very stupid list of stuff. So like it is absolutely required that it is there, and it should be an absolute marketing requirement that it is not there, that it is hidden. I'm also not seeing faculty, and it is an absolute requirement that we see the faculty that are associated with this program listed here on the degree, and we should also see the faculty potentially from the course level listed on there as well. We can talk about that as a strategy if we want to remove that, but it is a regulatory requirement to have the faculty listed. Okay, back to the regulatory side of things. Oh boy, the scroll motion that we've got here as an animation, I think we can make it a bit snappier and less trippy. Also just highlight, again, expecting a sticky nav bar, so we get some weird behavior with this line bouncing. Maybe it's got a bounce on it. But that's beyond just the fact that the nav bar is not sticky. There's some kind of bounce that happens. We've got some big logos that we need here, and so I don't know why we don't have them, but nobody's going to read this text. All they care about are the big logos. ICDE, Eden, Urashi, universities worldwide, et cetera, et cetera. And so we want those alongside any other big logos. We've done a huge amount of work to get those logos, and boy, we like every one of those was a slog. We won those logos. In some cases, we were paying an annual fee to get that logo on our website, and so we need to have these logos. Show me my Europass logo. Show me my UNESCO logo, the EHEA logo, and so on. I don't think we want to be downloading resources for anything. And so maybe we should have a sync if you want to get all these yeah, so there's got to be a strategy for where all these policies go. Just as a heads up, I passed a formal resolution yesterday, so I'm now president. So I am both rector and president. Rector in Switzerland and president in Malta. This is not the administration team, so these are just nice placeholders, but this would be members of our academic team that have been appointed to roles in Malta or Switzerland, have roles here. These are all members of WAC, and so that's got to go into a WAC section. Faculty Council, let's remove this one about, let's remove these first two and then replace them with a statement that says all members of Wolf's faculty across all colleges are equally members of the Wolf Faculty Council. I think in general we should have Martin take a read of this. It looks like there are some minor issues to take care of there. Okay, we've got whack again. We have a date at the top of the terms, which seems to be missing. It's the law that we have that. Probably the same for privacy. So have that one double checked with Amit. Quick note, not sure our team can cover it. Generally, websites that have good user experience, when you are already signed in, the sign in button now just says dashboard. So once your state is authenticated, update the state of the button from sign in to dashboard. And that way, when you click on it, you go to dashboard because you're already signed in. So you just, I don't need to sign in. I just go to the dashboard. Cool. Probably want to update the stock imagery. Miss a lot of dead links, of course. This is kind of a remixed theme of some other stuff where I would say maybe we just need a page of alumni stories and stats and, have like the first one posted here and roll out, or from the main landing page where we've got this section of students. So, all this is kind of remixed content, but we've got much newer, better content than these ones. So we've got to kind of figure out what is the content that we want without too much repetition. We've got this 10,000 graduates, join the alumni community, 9999 plus, join the group. We don't have 10,000 graduates. So we've got 1,000 graduates. We've got, so anyway, we want to be realistic about that. It's going to be pretty obvious when you click on the link and there are like 200 people that have signed up to the LinkedIn group. Okay, we got colleges A to Z. I think the page looks good. I don't know the goal of the page. And so, why are we using a different, again, like visually this looks great. Do we want to highlight any colleges? Do we want to make it more filterable by region? So we have a design language for our degrees, which is starting to take shape. And one opportunity here is that we could apply that same design language with a nav bar across the top and say filter by country or filter by program that they offer, like a computer science versus business and so on. So we could make it more useful to the end user if the goal is to be useful. This doesn't make it particularly useful. It also highlights colleges more or less based on name. Whereas like some of these are high volume colleges, some of them not. We've also got some empty letters, so I guess we need empty letter state handling. Yeah, but visually looks great. Okay, got it. So this is the first time we're seeing faculty, and there's probably a more compact way to get faculty listed on page, not sure. We definitely need faculty listed on the actual degrees. This is not a section of certifications, just to be clear. This is a section that has a very specific function, which we can kill and remove. Or we have to make it right. And so the goal of this page was it provided, in the same way that we have a link proving that a student is a real student at Wolf, we have a link proving that a college is a real college at Wolf and a college in good standing. And so it is not a certifications like, oh, they earned all these certifications for accreditation. It is a certification that the college is a member of Wolf, which is something that students write into support and want to know. Like, is it true that GMC School of Technology is really a member of Wolf? And when the college has not yet been approved, the answer to that is no, or if they have been disapproved. So this is like a statement of their membership in Wolf. So you could say certification or certification of membership, but the function is like this. Here is a random user. This is the certification that Rajesh is a member student at Wolf. Wolf certifies that has enrolled as a student at Directors Institute, World Council of Directors, a constituent member college of Wolf, which is a licensed higher education institution in Europe. This shows his student ID card. It shows what degree he's enrolled in, and he's not graduated, so he doesn't have his transcript and degree certificate here, but it does provide his enrollment letter. So again, going back to what is the function for the college, the function of this page is the same as this. It is to say, we're here to certify that GMC is a member of Wolf. If we can't do that effectively on this page, then we should kill the page. That's not a picture of GMC, so that more or less amounts to false advertising. Looks like a college at Cambridge, or could be at Oxford. So one question about the directory is like, what is the function of the directory? Is this a conversion tool? Because if it's a conversion tool, then we need to update all the imagery on these things to be accurate. If it's not a conversion tool, then we don't need to handle that. It's not an important component of what we are doing to handle the imagery and keep it up to date with our latest style guidelines, which I advocate for. I advocate for our directory should be font and text focused. It should cover everything that is required for regulation, and then a select number of 5 or 8 programs, which are a combination of college and degree. It's not like the 8 degrees that the college offers that we are trying to convert students into. It is the one that really matters. And so we should have 5 or 8 landing pages that are, this is an amazing college, this is the program you'll study at that college, these are the faculty you work with. That matters. This stuff, it's okay, but it is an extra load of work to keep it maintained, and we do have to maintain it. Okay, I think this all is great. I find this text a little, the line spacing a little dense, but it looks really cool. Harvard Business Impact, I don't particularly care, but you decide if this is the brand you want to pursue, as opposed to, like, for our audience, they may not know that Harvard Business Impact is part of Harvard. And so the extent that we can show it's part of Harvard would be great. We can definitely get high resolutions on that image. It's in Figma. Easy to go grab that. This is kind of exciting. I don't know what's going to happen when this burns down. Okay, got it. Anyway. Cool. This Content Hub. So just as a quick aside, we should kill this. Content, not the Content Hub. So we should get rid of this as fast as we can. This stuff is so low quality. It's so soulless. Accreditation boosts public, like, this is like a generic SEO optimized type article. By the way, this like image motion thing is giving me a headache. We've got great little pieces that have come out over the last 6 months. Let's put them in here. Let's get rid of all these things. These things don't matter. Like, we don't need to be advertising that we raised $7.5 million. That was 2021, so it looks like a dead blog. I don't know what this is. Not sure we want it around, though. AMA 2023, like maybe, but this is soulless. Like that's you know that's not a thing. That's a Spanish or papal insignia. Interesting. Okay. Um, oh wow, like we've got a Harvard announcement here and we've got an Oxford announcement. Well, those should definitely be at the top, not why isn't accreditation important. So obviously there's some like CMS management on the back end, so we need to be able to click the button to decide which things are above the fold. We also need to just like send some of these items into the trash. Um, and we probably need to filter here between the tech items and some other stuff. Um, what is accreditation? That one's garbage and should go in the trash. You know, if it's not written by like a person that actually has real opinions, then it should probably just go away. Online versus offline education. Like this is just a generic thing that some Upworker wrote for SEO optimization, and it's not good, to put it bluntly. So it doesn't have a view, it doesn't have a real opinion. It's just filler, and we don't need internet slop in this day and age. Um, okay, leaving this to you on the media mentions here. There's quite a bit of work we can do there. All right, I've hit 40 minutes. Many, many thanks. It's really exciting to see, and I hope that the comments are helpful and can strengthen where we land.